Welcome to Wellywood Wargaming, where the grim dark never sleeps. Crack open a bottle of wild snake and spark up a low stick as we take a journey down Underhive.
Howdy Hive scum, and welcome back to Wellywood Wargaming. I thought it was about time I engaged the community with a little post on all of my socials as to why and what it is we love about Necromunda so much. And I can tell you, I figured out what that was, and it's the stories that happen along the way. The friends we make along the way, of course. The little moments in Necromunda that are so eccentric and weird and crazy that create those narrative, fluffy stories that we all know and love. We remember some of these moments for years and years and years. I even remember some of these interactions from way back in '95 when I was a teenager. So what I thought I'd do is ask the community on my Facebook group, on Instagram, on a number of different sources like Reddit, and I've been really happy with those that have engaged with this. So I'm going to go through and read out some of the community's greatest moments in Necromunda. Of course, I've got to start it off with one of mine. In a campaign a couple of years ago in Wellington, I had a scummer with a twin reclaimed auto pistol build who took out a squat leader with 3 wounds, heavy carapace armor, and an armored undersuit with just a reclaimed auto pistol shot. So a 5 credit reclaimed auto pistol, 3 rapid fire, all of them wounding, 1s to save on all of them, and yep, skull and a dead squat leader. As you can imagine, it's pretty great, the trade-off, 5 credits against that. So that was one of my absolute highlights in recent years. Let's look at some of the community's ones now. Brother Peregrinus has said on Instagram, by the way, a Delac Flamer hits 5 of his Venators all in one shot and rolls 1s to wound on all 5 of them, setting none of them on fire and then detonating a melter bomb on himself to take himself out. How good. That's an awesome story, that one. Botch Designs says, this one time I had a squat pass an initiative test. That one's always an absolutely magnificent triumph there if you can get a squat or a Goliath to pass an initiative check. This one's from Hive Grub on Instagram as well. He says his road sergeant took a long rifle to the face, fell 12 inches and then got shot with a crack rocket and survived all of it. That's quite astonishing, and that is your road sergeant for you. This one's absolutely great. I love this. A Death Maiden failed a willpower check to charge a model that had hideous scars that were gained from this Death Maiden. This Death Maiden was so horrified by what she'd done to this ganger, she failed the willpower check to fight him. I just absolutely love that. So, so good. Casey from my own campaign here, shout out to Casey, says Slate killing his own dog after going insane was a good one. I remember that game very well. Slate Medina went insane and then turned around, immediately attacking his dog with a power hammer and absolutely smushing it. That was animal cruelty at its finest and definitely a good moment. This one's a really good one from Hive Whispers on Instagram. A Escher leader with 2 shot whips tried to charge a Orlok specialist by the looks of it with a plasma gun, failed the charge, but the Orlok specialist had already gone. He then went with his grenade launcher, missed with the grenade launcher. It scatters onto his leader, knocking the leader off a ledge to fall to her somewhat doom. She then survives, but however lands on another Orlok and kills them outright. I love that. So many times that I've seen long falls turn out with really weird results. So that's a really good one, that one. Now for some of the Facebook responses here. This one's from Rob Vander Post. This was years ago on Community Edition rules when we started our first campaign, and in the 2v2 inaugural match, one other player's leader threw a frag grenade at one of my gangers, which he fumbled, after which the grenade exploded on himself, killing him outright. So that's a pretty nasty one as well. And he says this is the epitome of what Necromunda is and why we all still laugh so hard when we think back to this. We've got this one from Sam here. Cawdor versus Delac playing the Dark Uprising campaign. Gang was too large to feed properly, so Juves were being starved, not assigned meat. My champ was in a cluster of bone pickers to make use of a group activation. When they got hit and took an injury, the group of Juves then all failed their willpower check, starvation test, and then ate the wounded champion. Champion goes out of action and scores a 66 memorable death. They literally ate and left no crumbs. So your own champion getting eaten by your own bone pickers, that is an absolutely brilliant one, that one. This one from Mike Boyle now. His Escher against his friend's Orlok. His Orlok gang had a Juve called Lucky Bob, by the way, and over 10 years of playing on and off, Lucky Bob became an unkillable behemoth, starting only with his stub gun and knife. He then went on to outright kill the Escher leader and 2 heavies, by the way. At the time of writing, Lucky Bob still roams alive and well, even after placing 100 cred bounties on his head, so that's excellent as well. When Juves do cool stuff like that, it's just brilliant. I actually had a Cawdor Juve once who was armed with nothing, by the way, a bone picker, and I gave him 2 or 3 movement upgrades. So it was at least movement 8, and all he did in every single game was coup de grace. So he was my sort of clean-up guy. He'd go in and he'd run in with like an 11-inch charge or something just to kick people in the face, and it was just fantastic. So Juves, absolutely for the win. Over on the Necromunda Underhive Facebook group now, we've got one from Jason here who says an opponent in first edition had an Orlok ganger named Bob Bronson. There seems to be a theme with Bob here, who was proving very adept with a shotgun. During the campaign, he was upgraded with a heavy bolter. However, during the next 3 games, he missed with his first shot and failed the ammo rolls. He gained the nickname Barn Door. Much to the annoyance of the other players, he reverted back to the shotgun to lethal effect. So there you go. It proves that sometimes the humble shotgun is better than a heavy bolter. We've got this one from Jim here as well. My favourite story was from years ago in N95. A Goliath gang squared off against an old school gene stealer cult with actual gene stealers. Pure strain gene stealers, by the way, in it. One jumped a Goliath and we thought he was dead, but he had the headbutt skill and drove his skull directly into the face, taking it out of action. The injuries table had this stealer killed, and this guy got the name of Bug Eater and lived to retirement. That's a fantastic one there as well. Over on the Sump City Radio Facebook group now, we've got one from Martin here. My friend played Van Saar and tried a rescue mission for one of his champions. He made it to the cell room and tried to kill the guard with his leader and plasma gun. Failed to hit on a 2, and the Juve came behind and tried the same with his plasma pistol. Failed to hit also, but managed to kill his own leader by a stray shot and rolled 66 on the injury table. Till today, a story we always tell again. That one's great as well. This one from Graham, also on the Sump City Facebook page here. I had a Juve who sprinted up a ladder, triggered 3 separate bursts of Overwatch fire, ran through the hail of bullets, and then managed to torch 3 gangers with a hand flamer. 2 of them died and 1 ran flailing a human torch before succumbing to his burns and falling off a gantry. That was pretty memorable. He went on to lead his own Redemptionist gang in future campaigns. That one's awesome as well. This one's great from Ashley Kaufman. I was playing Cawdor in a game with a sump river in the middle of the board and only 1 bridge. I had rolled a fairly good amount of faith dice, so decided that jumping over was a good idea. Juve number 1 stood at the edge and declared, and lo, did I spread my wings, and the God Emperor carried me aloft and soared to the other side and instantly shot and killed an opposition Juve. Juve number 2 then declared the same and, easily made it across and then threw a grenade, not wounding but pinning 3 opposition gangers as well. And then the leader, seeing the faith of these 2 Juves, then decided to make the jump as well. He declared, and lo, do I spread my wings, and the God Emperor carries me aloft. And the God Emperor did not show up for him. He plummeted into the Sump River, went out of action and rolled a 65 on the table, which I paid for him to go to the dock, but rolled a 1 and the dock killed him. In the game, the Juves and gangers saw the apparent lack of faith in their leader, and they soon bottled out. That one is fantastic as well. Anything involving Cawdor doing silly stuff like that is just awesome. This one over on Reddit now. Thanks for all your answers on Reddit, by the way. I Paint Small Things says, I had a little grot rattling Venator do a 20-inch people's elbow onto somebody who had fallen into the sump, and they both went out of action. Always go for the people's elbow if you have the chance. By the way, just jumping freely off the top and landing on top of another fighter. Fantastic. I love those kind of stories. This one now from Salkaline. A buddy of mine failed to find the weapons casket 14 times in 3 rounds in the search and destroy scenario. That is super unlucky, but it happens in Necromunda. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to go through absolutely every single one of them, but that should highlight just how much storytelling and narrative fluff and fun can happen in Necromunda, and that's the reason why we keep coming back to this game. So I hope you enjoyed that anyway. Please do let me know any of these other great moments that happen in Necromunda for you and your mates and your gaming groups that you talk about years and years after the campaigns have already run their ground. But yeah, that's really highlighting the reason why I love Necromunda and why so many people find this game so hilarious at times. It's the stories that it tells with some of the unique mechanics and dice rolls that can happen in games. So anyway, that's it for now. Please do check out the Patreon and like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back with another little video real soon. Peace out.